Day 133, Royal Kingdom, 2 Samuel 15, 1 Chronicles 19-20, Psalm 3. Let's begin. 2 Samuel 15. Then, after these things, Absalom obtained for himself chariots, and horsemen, and 50 men who went before him. And rising up in the morning, Absalom was standing beside the entrance of the gate. And when there was any man who had a dispute that might go before the king's judgment, Absalom would call him to him, and would say, "Which city are you from?" And responding, he would say, "I am your servant, from a certain tribe of Israel." And Absalom would answer him, "Your words seem good and just to me. But there is no one appointed by the king to hear you." And Absalom would say, "Who may appoint me judge over the land, so that all those who have a dispute might come to me, and I might judge justly?" Then too, when a man would draw near to him, so that he might greet him, he would extend his hand, and taking hold of him, he would kiss him. And he was doing this to all those of Israel arriving for judgment to be heard by the king. And he solicited the hearts of the men of Israel. Then, after 40 years, Absalom said to King David, "I should go and pay my vows, which I have vowed to the Lord at Hebron. For your servant made a vow, when he was in Geshur of Syria, saying, If the Lord will lead me back to Jerusalem, I will sacrifice to the Lord." And King David said to him, "Go in peace." And he rose up and went away to Hebron. Then Absalom sent scouts into all the tribes of Israel, saying, "As soon as you hear the blare of the trumpet, say, Absalom reigns in Hebron." Now having been called, 200 men from Jerusalem went forth with Absalom, going in simplicity of heart, and being entirely ignorant of the plan. Absalom also summoned Ahithophel the Gilonite, a counselor of David, from his city, Gilo. And when he was immolating victims, a very strong oath was sworn, and the people, hurrying together, joined with Absalom. Then a messenger went to David, saying, "With their whole heart, all of Israel is following Absalom." And David said to his servants, who were with him in Jerusalem, "Rise up, let us flee. For otherwise there will be no escape for us from the face of Absalom. Hurry to depart, lest perhaps, upon arriving, he may seize us, and force ruin upon us, and strike the city with the edge of the sword." And the servants of the king said to him, "Everything whatsoever that our lord the king will command, we your servants shall carry out willingly." Therefore, the king departed, with his entire household on foot. And the king left behind 10 women of the concubines to care for the house. And having gone forth on foot, the king and all of Israel stood at a distance from the house. And all his servants were walking beside him. And the legions of the Sarathites and Pelethites, and all the Gittites, powerful fighters, 600 men who had followed him from Gath on foot, were preceding the king. Then the king said to Ittai the Gittite, "Why do you come with us? Return and live with the king. For you are a stranger, and you departed from your own place. You arrived yesterday. And today should you be compelled to go away with us? For I should go to the place where I am going. But you should return, and lead your own brothers back with you. And the Lord will show mercy and truth to you, because you have shown grace and faith." And Ittai responded to the king by saying, "As the Lord lives, and as my lord the king lives, in whatever place you will be, my lord the king, whether in death or in life, your servant will be there." And David said to Ittai, "Come, and pass over." And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all the men who were with him, and the rest of the multitude. And they all wept with a great voice, and all the people passed over. The king also passed over the torrent Kidron. And all the people advanced opposite the way which looks out toward the desert. Now Zadok the priest also went, and all the Levites went with him, carrying the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God. And Abiathar went up, until all the people who had departed from the city had gone by. And the king said to Zadok, "Carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find grace in the sight of the Lord, he will lead me back. And he will show it to me in his tabernacle. But if he will say to me, 'You are not pleasing,' I am ready. Let him do whatever is good in his own sight." And the king said to Zadok the priest, "O seer, return into the city in peace. And let your son Ahimaaz and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar, your 2 sons, be with you. Behold, I will hide in the plains of the desert, until word from you may arrive to inform me. Therefore, Zadok and Abiathar carried back the ark of God into Jerusalem, and they remained there. But David ascended to the Mount of Olives, climbing and weeping, advancing with bare feet and with his head covered. Moreover, all the people who were with him ascended, weeping with their heads covered. Then it was reported to David that Ahithophel also had joined in swearing with Absalom. And David said, O Lord, I beg you, to uncover the foolishness of the counsel of Ahithophel. And when David had ascended to the summit of the mountain, where he was going to adore the Lord, behold, Hushai the Archite met him, with his garment torn and his head covered with soil. And David said to him, If you come with me, you will be a burden to me. But if you return to the city, and you say to Absalom, I am your servant, O king, just as I have been the servant of your father, so too will I be your servant, you will destroy the counsel of Ahithophel. And you have with you the priests Zadok and Abiathar. And any word whatsoever that you will hear from the house of the king, you shall reveal it to Zadok and Abiathar, the priests. Now with them are their 2 sons Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, and Jonathan, the son of Abiathar. And you shall send to me by them every word that you will have heard. Therefore, Hushai, the friend of David, went into the city. And Absalom also entered into Jerusalem. 1 Chronicles 19:20. Now it happened that Nahash, the king of the sons of Ammon, died, and his son reigned in his place. And David said, I will act with mercy toward Hanan, the son of Nahash. For his father was gracious to me. And so David sent messengers to console him over the death of his father. But when they had reached the land of the sons of Ammon, so that they might console Hanan, the leaders of the sons of Ammon said to Hanan, Do you think that perhaps David has sent them to console you in order to honor your father? Have you not noticed that his servants came to you so that they might explore, and investigate, and examine your land? And so Hanan shaved the heads and beards of the servants of David, and he cut away their tunics from the buttocks to the feet, and he sent them away. And when they had gone, and had sent word to David, for they had suffered a great disgrace, he sent to meet them, and he instructed them that they should remain at Jericho until their beards grew, and then they should return. Then, when the sons of Ammon realized that they had committed an injury against David, both Hanan and the rest of the people sent 1,000 talents of silver, so that they might hire for themselves chariots and horsemen from Mesopotamia, and from Syrian Makkah, and from Zobah. And they hired 32,000 chariots, and the king of Makkah with his people. When these had arrived, they made camp in the region opposite Medeba. Also, the sons of Ammon, gathering from their cities, went to war. And when David had heard this, he sent Joab and the entire army of strong men. And the sons of Ammon, going out, set up a battle line before the gate of the city. But the kings who had come to their aid stood separately in the field. And so Joab, understanding the war to be set facing him and behind his back, chose the strongest men from all of Israel, and he went out against the Syrians. But the remaining portion of the people he placed under the hand of his brother Abishai. And they went out against the sons of Ammon. And he said, If the Syrians prevail over me, then you shall be a help to me. But if the sons of Ammon prevail over you, I will be a safeguard for you. Be strengthened, and let us act manfully on behalf of our people, and on behalf of the cities of our God. And the Lord will do what is good in his own sight. Therefore, Joab, and the people who were with him, went out to battle against the Syrians. And he put them to flight. Then the sons of Ammon, seeing that the Syrians had fled, also themselves fled from Abishai, his brother, and they entered into the city. And now Joab returned to Jerusalem. But the Syrians, seeing that they had fallen before Israel, sent messengers, and they brought the Syrians who were across the river. And Shaphat, the leader of the military of Hadadezer, was their commander. When this had been reported to David, he gathered together all of Israel, and he crossed the Jordan. And he rushed toward them. And he set up a battle line facing them. And they fought against him. But the Syrians fled from Israel. And David killed of the Syrians 7,000 chariots, and 40,000 men on foot, and Shaphat, the leader of the army. Then the servants of Hadadezer, seeing themselves to be overwhelmed by Israel, crossed over to David, and they served him. And Syria was no longer willing to offer aid to the sons of Ammon. Now it happened that, after the course of a year, in the time when kings usually go forth to war, Joab gathered an army with experienced soldiers, and he laid waste to the land of the sons of Ammon. And he continued on and besieged Rabbah. But David was staying in Jerusalem when Joab struck Rabbah and destroyed it. Then David took the crown of Milcom from his head, and he found in it the weight of 1 talent of gold, and very precious gems. And he made for himself a diadem from it. Also, he took the best spoils of the city, which were very many. Then he led away the people who were in it. And he caused plows, and sleds, and iron chariots to go over them, so much so that they were cut apart and crushed. So did David treat all the cities of the sons of Ammon. And he returned with all his people to Jerusalem. After these things, a war was begun at Gezer against the Philistines, in which Sibbecai the Hushathite struck Sippai from the race of the Rephaim, and he humbled them. Also, another war was undertaken against the Philistines, in which Adiodatus, a son of the forest, a Bethlehemite, struck the brother of Goliath the Gittite, the wood of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. Then, too, another war occurred in Gath, in which there was a very tall man, having 6 digits, that is, altogether 24. This man too was born from the stock of the Rephaim. He blasphemed Israel. And Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the brother of David, struck him down. These were the sons of the Rephaim in Gath, who fell by the hand of David and his servants. Psalm 3. A psalm of David. When he fled from the face of his son Absalom. Lord, why have those who trouble me been multiplied? Many rise up against me. Many say to my soul, there is no salvation for him in his God. But you, Lord, are my supporter, my glory, and the one who raises up my head. I have cried out to the Lord with my voice, and he has heard me from his holy mountain. I have slept, and I have been stupefied. But I awakened because the Lord has taken me up. I will not fear the thousands of people surrounding me. Rise up, Lord. Save me, my God. For you have struck all those who oppose me without cause. You have broken the teeth of sinners. Salvation is of the Lord, and your blessing is upon your people.